The study that I'm going to discuss today is about adoption of sustainable real estate development in Sri Lanka, and this is going to be a small gap analysis. Now, the present real estate sector has been highly impacted by changes such as innovative competition, innovative trends of the market, expansion of infrastructure direct ownership, and so on, while inspiring research investors to achieve greater profits. Sustainable development means basically utilizing what we have today to the future generations, and therefore the degree of attaining success in real estate is questionable to the extent which it reaches achieving sustainable development. And that is why the present study analyzes the degree of sustainability exhibited in real estate investments to address the necessity of a sustainable real estate sector for our country. In moving ahead, the research problem is basically that now in Sri Lanka, we have undertaken lots of real estate investment during past decades, and we have seen lots of changes that are associated with. But the thing is, most of the outcomes, investment outcomes, reveal that these investments are not sustainable enough. For an example, we saw the consequences of land clearance, deforestation, urbanization within the country. So this makes sense that there is a question about how much it is sustainable enough to invest in Sri Lankan sector to achieve the sustainable goals of the nation. And in implementing this study, basically, the study has adopted a qualitative research method, and also the data collection was based on secondary sources, which are mentioned right here in this slide. Now, the findings of the study have achieved aims of the research in terms of nature of practice and governance. So when it comes to nature of practice, the first factor that we have identified is the fact of urbanization. Urbanization is one of a major global trend that impacts on world environmental quality. Its impact on both environment and social sustainability concerns, and this was emphasized by various scholars as it was stated in the slide. So when it comes to Sri Lankan context, unplanned expansion of urbanization is found generating environmental, social, and economic hazards. As real estate investments exhibit a positive relationship with urbanization decrease, it is important to assure the sustainable needs in real estate investments to address the future challenges towards urbanization. The next factor that the study has found is deforestation. Now, normally deforestation challenges attaining sustainable goals in a country. In assessing Sri Lanka, the study of Selapirama 2020 illustrated that most of the practices of construction and other development projects in Sri Lanka are not adequately sustainable enough. For an example, the Nelluwa Lankagama Denyaya road was deforested in order to establish a prawn farm. Here, Sri Lanka met a daily loss of 10 acres of forests in 2020, but the real estate investments and related developments negatively enforce the nation's need to attain sustainable real sector goals. For an example, the Singharaja Forest and Yala National Park are some of the forest resources that our country has. But these were subjected to the influences of real estate investments and land developments during the past years, as it is shown in the slide. In moving ahead, even His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit declared that some of the areas in Ikambu which were preserved as a sanctuary are being subjected to land development under the Gazette issued in 2006. Moreover, the leader of the indigenous community, Uruwarge Vanilla Atho, implied the negativities of deforestation towards their social day-to-day living things. Now, in Moving to the next factor, especially the third factor that this study has found is desertification. Now, desertification impacts sustainability. That's obvious. Some studies have revealed that unsustainable practices decline the economic productivity of real estate. But although Sri Lanka has not attained a complete desertification in the present at all, there are some accelerators, which such as dryland ecosystems, which are yet vulnerable to overexploitation and inappropriate land use. Especially because of this fact, the Sustainable Development Goals in Sri Lanka defined goal number 15 to acknowledge the need of overcoming the implementations of desertification in the future. And it is also revealed in this study that it has certain social impacts in attaining the sustainability in terms of social being. Now, the next fact that the study revealed is about clearance of lands. As most of the real estate investors cleared lands to fulfill mobilization, easy access, and land value enhancements, it has become a necessity in attaining real estate economic values. Although land clearance is generally engaged with removal of trees and green spaces to attain better profits, some scholars implied that green spaces allow the advantages and values for improvements, such as ability of trees to develop the quality of water, soil, and air, and to extract contaminants as well. Now, when it comes to Sri Lanka, the publication of Jayasuriya in 2019 emphasized the necessity of adopting safeguard policies to increase the social sustainability of a person's livelihood and living standards. Accordingly, integration of green financing for real estate investment is really important. Now, apart from the basic criteria, the next criteria that the study emphasizes is about the governance, especially the National Environment Act, the Land Development Act, and so many acts were established by the government. But the question is, the applicability and the effectiveness of these acts, because here, as you can see in the slides, most of the scholars have demonstrated that these laws are not deficient enough or contain several deficiencies in its practical implementation. So this makes sense that we need to enforce the law not only theoretically, but also in the practical implementation as well. Now, in assessing what sort of institutions, guidances are there in Sri Lanka to define sustainable real estate investments, the Green SL rating system issued by Green Building Council in Sri Lanka plays a predominant role in evaluating sustainable needs during the construction. The authority has issued 7 sustainable parameters to define the state of sustainability as it is displayed in the slide. But the thing is, although the Green Building Sri Lanka is one of the leading authorities in implementing green principles, its aim or its vision revealed being specifically pioneering on Sri Lankan construction sector, except considering the real estate investment strategies. As it stated, this moreover generates the need of having certain authorizations and enforcements of law to establish the concerns of real estate investment, just like we consider sustainability in the construction phases as well. Real estate brokers and sellers are key players in real estate investment. The Department of Registrar of companies, Sri Lanka, have real estate developers registered under private company names, but the practical implementation of real estate investments and developments vary to greater extents as per several study findings that is shown in the slide. Therefore, the sustainable needs are not considerably focused on real estate investment procedures, although most of the laws and policies emphasized the need of acquiring sustainable goals during the land development processes. In moving to the next slide, I would like to draw my conclusion here as the study outcomes exposed that the applicability of environment sustainability in real estate investments is comparatively low, and concerns of social sustainability are inadequate in Sri Lanka due to the nature of real estate investment practices and government deficiencies. As the practitioners were more profit-oriented, the present study suggests adopting a value-oriented culture considering the sustainable needs. In overcoming the government deficiencies, it is important to define and integrate measures to examine the state of environment and social sustainability parameters within real estate investment procedures, establishing mechanisms such as issuing a license that considered sustainable needs is also substantial to manage the practices of real estate brokers and investors while adopting effective measures to monitor the investment practices at all. Now, although this study has a pretty vast extent, there are some limitations as well. For an example, this study concerns the parameters of environment and social concerns of sustainability. Hence, further studies can be carried out to assess the rest of the parameters, such as technology, economy, and all. Moreover, since the current research has achieved its objective via secondary data in major, adoption of primary data is also applicable as we think. So this is how it goes. And thank you for everyone for listening up.